me thank my executive producer, Fatim Muhammad, technical producer, Lee Majors. Don't forget tonight and every night, 6 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Central, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton, live on MSNBC. Watch us tonight. Don't forget, you that want to help those young people go from Atlanta to meet us for the big march and rally for Kendrick Johnson in Valdosta, Georgia. Call 1-816-787-320405, 1-678-732-0405, 678-732-0405. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real, keep it real, keep it real. Talk to you tomorrow. Keeping it real.
The views and opinions expressed on this broadcast are not necessarily those of WGCV 620 AM, its staff or management, or our parent company, Glory Communications Incorporated.
Get ready. Armstrong Williams is up next on WGCV 620 AM, where knowledge is power.
I'll never forget that moment.
Never forget that moment.
As long as I live.
As long as I live.
It started with a phone call.
I got the text when I was at work.
My first call up ever as a member of the National Guard. This was it, the real deal.
When we got to the armory, they briefed us on the wildfires, how they were getting dangerously close to homes.
It was amazing to be a part of this massive operation. Helicopters were going up with huge buckets to drop water on the fires. Some of the guys in the unit were preparing for firefighting with local fire crews.
We went out in Humvees to help with the evacuations.
At that moment, I got my first taste from just how important the Guard is to my community.
Good God! I got to ask you what we need. Soul food. Henry Soul Food. No, we need it. Soul Food. Henry Soul Food. No, I like it. Soul Food. Henry Soul Food. No, we need it. Soul Food. Henry Soul Food. Hit me.
Home of the sweet potato pie. Even the keenest taste buds will tell you the best food on the planet. Large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. So get the Henrys at 5431 Indian Head Highway, Oxon Hill, Maryland, or give us a call at 301-749-6856.
Soul food. Henry Soul Food. What we need. Soul food. Henry Soul Food.
Welcome to the Armstrong Williams Show, brought to you by Golden Crust Bakery, the fastest growing Caribbean-owned franchise in the United States. Golden Crust is committed to the delivery of quality food and excellent customer service. Visit them today at goldencrustbakery.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Armstrong Williams Show, and thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Reese, how are you today?
I'm just fine. It's a gorgeous day here, Armstrong.
Dr. Bobby, how are you?
I'm
Fleischer.
fine today, thank you.
That's good.
And you?
I'm good. I'm actually good.
Good.
And we're also going to be joined by Dr. Sadhguru. Dr. Sadhguru, are you on the line? No.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I'm here, but I'm not a doctor.
But you are a guru.
You know, he will sort of talk about his book, and we're going to respond to it today from our experience, because he's talking about mystics and mistakes, the journey from confusion to clarity, from error to enlightenment, from self-deception to discovery. So it'll be fun for us to take apart, embrace what he's saying, and have a good dialogue. But first, you know, I got to share something with you, Dr. Fleischer and Dr. Reese. I have been wanting to tell you this for the last 2 weeks, but I just didn't even know how. And it's not gonna. It will have a little impact, but I just wanted to share this with you. You know, a few times that we've been on the air together. You remember when C-Pain Lucas would join us as a guest host?
Mm-hmm.
Do you both remember him?
Of course.
You, Dr. Fleischer?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear who you. I didn't hear the name you said.
C-Pain Lucas, when he would guest
Oh
host.
yes.
Oh, he was wonderful. You ladies really enjoyed him.
Yes. Yes.
I didn't know how to tell. I just wanted you all to know that a week ago he committed suicide.
No.
What?
Yes.
No.
God.
Oh. Armstrong.
Devastating, I have to tell you. I
That's
just
devastating.
Yes. It's just
Oh,
so
my.
full of life and
Oh no.
yeah, unbelievable.
Do you have any notion why he was so desperate to have done that?
Well, you know, he was bipolar all his life, and but you know what? We hung out. You know, he was doing well. He's proud of his daughter. He was taking care of his parents. He was just he was full of life. He was full of life. And you know, I just wanted to spend a few minutes before we get to Dr. Sadhguru to talk about how is it that we can be. I just feel like when somebody commits suicide, those of us who are close to them and they're in our lives, I feel like we failed them.
Yes, I know that.
I know just what you're saying.
Yes. Yes.
Like, how did we not know what pain he was in?
Yeah, you know, I feel as though I failed him because I was so close to him, and yet, I mean, and listen, I mean, and not just close to him. I mean, when we talk after the show, we would go and have dinner for hours. He would show up.
I remember you said you were going to go over to his place and help him with something.
Yeah, and then he would come some mornings. He would come and pick me up at 4:30 in the morning. We would go to the gym. He would drive almost an hour, and I just, how is it? How is it? You know, I just had to have this discussion with you all because
how is it that we didn't know that you didn't know, but you know, you couldn't. You couldn't. You have to accept the fact that because you know that if you had known, you would have done anything.
You know what was so amazing? His wife called me to break the news, and she said, Armstrong, had he not been on your show for the last 6 months, he would have tried this much sooner. It's the one thing that gave life and joy to his life. That's what she said.
Armstrong. And I'm sure she's grateful, and she knows.
When I was
knows
at the funeral this past Friday, and I went up to embrace me, and you know what it's like at a funeral that is packed. It was standing room only. Mm-hmm. She held me for 5 minutes and just cried her heart out. I was so, and she just thanked me profusely. I just said to myself, how could I not have known? I mean, I have not been able to come to grips with it. I have to tell you.
I believe that.
And
the thing is that you do know that whatever you could have done, you would have. And as it is, you did something for him without even realizing that you were probably extending his life a bit. Oh, I'm so sorry that you lost such a friend, and I remember him vividly.
Yes, because he was so sensitive, because he talked about taking care of his parents. He was such a good son.
Yes.
And I was, I don't know. But I will tell you this. I have become much more wiser, and, you know, so many people. I guess what is just really has blown me away is that I have talked to about 3 or 4 people who knew how close I was to him. They saw his obituary in the paper, and they confessed that they suffer from depression, have thought of suicide. I could not believe it.
Oh,
and I said to myself, are there that many people in pain?
There are many people in pain. And I do remember, Armstrong, when I was much younger, when my children were young, a wonderful little family who lived near us, and a wonderful guy, a school principal who committed suicide. He had been very depressed. He had been treated, and then all of a sudden, for several months, he was better. And this sometimes happens to very depressed people, and his wife explained to me that period of being better was when he had really decided this was what he was going to have to do.
That's when he decided.
Yes, he became peaceful.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was a terrible thing to hear, but it helped me understand a little bit what the family was seeing.
I thought maybe you were going to say that having come through that and then maybe realizing he was going back into a depression, that he could not face that.
Well, that's possible, but the way his doctor explained it to her was apparently he had just come to a final resolution and he was able to be calm.
But are we saying then there is really nothing you can do to stop them when this is what they decide? Because here's the thing. It is her, when I spoke to his wife, I thank God that she just spent such quality time with me on the phone. He made a decision. You know, and here's the thing. Here's the thing I've not really talked about. I was just surprised at how open and honest she was about the events that led up to it. And it is, and I'm not going to get into it.
Well, thank heavens she is, and I'm very glad to hear that she is dealing with it this way and talking to
you.
Yeah, because she said that he was upset and he wanted her to do something, but she was tired and she just said she didn't feel like it. And he said to her, you know what, I'm not going to be a bother anymore. That's it for me. Something like that, you know. And people say that and you don't think anything of it.
Of course not.
No, of course not.
How many times do we say things like this?
Yeah.
And then the next thing that they knew, he hung himself in the basement of his sister's home.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
Was she aware that he was so very depressed?
Yeah, well, she said he had tried several times before. I didn't know. And I've known him. I've known C. Payne for over 15 years.
Oh, people can keep many things concealed or not want people to know. And, when people are open about bipolar, I just read that Catherine Zeta-Jones went into a hospital because she has this and she wants people to know that it's treatable. And she's open about it, and she wants people to be more open, and I think that's a very good thing.
But he committed suicide.
But then, I think that when someone does decide and is as determined as he, having tried before and not been successful, maybe those times he did not want to be successful. But once he has done this or decided to do it, there was probably nothing that you could do or his wife could do to have changed it. Obviously, he'd been facing this for many, many years. And to blame yourself or to feel guilty yourself at what you might have done or could have done, there probably was nothing you could have done at that point to dissuade him.
You know what? When you really care about somebody, you always feel you can save them.
Of course.
Of course. And part
of being human. I think it's part of being a caring human.
Yes, we'll be back. Of course, we had Dr. Sadhguru going to join us to talk about the mistakes and everything else in life. We'll be back.
Say bye-bye burgers, pass on the pizza, forget the francs. Anytime is party time. Discover Golden Cross's authentic Jamaican-style patties. Beef, chicken, vegetables, soya, spinach, and shrimp. Feast on our great taste sensations. Jerk chicken, oxtail, sliced fish, and much more. Savor the taste of the Caribbean. Only at a Golden Cross near you. A family tradition since 1949. GoldenCrossBakery.com.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams. What does it mean to be conservative? Freedom of speech, freedom of free enterprise, freedom of assembly, less government, less taxes. As a matter of fact, a flat tax. Everyone should pay proportional tax. It doesn't matter whether you make 100 million or 10,000. Everyone should pay their 10%. Everyone should have something at stake in this American economy. I'm Armstrong Williams, expressing what we mean by conservative traditional value.
Does your school, team, church, or charity need a new fundraiser? Do you need to work out of your home or part-time? Are you a small business that can use an additional revenue stream? Then you need Yellow Llama. Do you need affordable web services or tools to enhance your existing business? Are you a graphic artist who wants to create a revenue stream with your art but not get ripped off? Then go to www.yellowllama.com.
America must change course if we hope to survive and save the American dream for our children and grandchildren. How do we fix Social Security and Medicare? How do we cut government spending? How do we reform health care? How do we simplify the tax code? The Heritage Foundation has a bold plan that tackles these tough problems using common sense solutions that leave partisan politics on the sidelines. Find out how we can save the American dream at savingthedream.org, paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams with an opportunity to own a piece of paradise in Nassau, Bahamas. Spectacular land prices, 8,000 square feet, 20,000 square feet lot, affordable prices, hilltop properties with views of the magnificent sea. Just call 242-677-3120 or 3121 or go to info@rightsidewire.com and leave your information.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
So, welcome back to the Armstrong Williams Show. Obviously, my talking about this subject really is like kryptonite. It really takes me off my edge on the air because it wears me out. You know, it just saddens me, and that there's so many people that are in pain. They walk around, they dress the part, and yet we have no idea how people are suffering and how much this economy. I do know that C-Payne was not happy about where he was in his life. Professionally, he was not satisfied. I did hear those conversations, but you know, for me, I never allow people to become negative. I always talk about the good and the success, and you know, sometimes I think maybe it's not enough to just talk about that you can be successful. It's just sometimes to make people understand you can relate to their struggle and just communicate with them at that point. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a lesson there. You know, it's not that I feel guilty. It's just such an overwhelming, shocking loss. He was only 45 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
So I'm just telling you. So anyhow, and this is why I avoided not telling you, because I knew it would change my energy and momentum. But I had to tell you, because the interesting thing is the family requested that we send a file of all the shows. And one of the shows they really enjoyed was when he was on with you all. And they asked me that I said, you know, I'm going to let them know. And I figured it's best to do it live to get the natural reaction. So I apologize for bringing this up.
I'm so glad, because he was delightful to talk with. And
yes.
I'm just so sorry.
Well, Sadhguru, what do you have to add to this? What do you think about suicide? How does this tie into mystics and mistakes, the journey from confusion to clarity, from error to enlightenment, from self-deception to discovery? And tell us about your book so we can have some dialogue.
Not everybody commits suicide because of pain alone. It is just that when people are involved with day-to-day activities, seeking survival and success, suddenly one moment if you stop and look at your life and you see the meaninglessness of the whole thing, it is the void that one faces which usually drives people to suicide, not necessarily pain. People have enormous capability to endure pain and come out of it, but people have not been prepared in any way by most, in the normal social structures to face the void of their life. We are trying to give it all kinds of meanings, but essentially from where you come and where you go in this life is something that's not been addressed. It's been only addressed by belief and, people believing things that have been told to them. People have not strived to explore and the necessary tools and atmosphere and the needed ambience to explore one's life as to what is the nature of one's existence, what is the nature of who we are, has not been sufficiently addressed. So suicide is a consequence, usually, of facing that void, that you see an empty space in front of you, that you cannot see the beginning or the end of it.
Now, you hearing this, Dr. Fleischer, what do you think about what you're hearing? I'm kind of stepping back from it, but go ahead. You first. To be honest now, come on now.
Well,
come on.
No. I'm trying to digest what you said.
Oh, I understood what he said. That's not my issue.
I could not hear it completely. But I think he said that when you have this pain, this darkness, this shadow in front of you, that sometimes you just can't see beyond it. Is that it? Is that what you said?
It is not about darkness. It is just that.
Speak up for us, please. I need you to speak up for us.
Yeah, I can't hear.
Go ahead and speak up, Sadhguru. You say it's not about darkness.
No,
go ahead.
It is not about darkness. It is just that human beings are constantly trying to make meaning of life. What we need to understand is it is not about the meaning. It is about understanding that the nature of life process is such that you can never fathom the beginning and the end of it. It is just that if you're an exuberant part of the creation around you, there is no meaning to it, but it's just fantastic. But if you try to find a meaning, suddenly you are trying to contain the whole life process and creation in your mind, and that leaves you completely in a hopeless state. People who look for meaning, one way or other, drive themselves to depression and loneliness within themselves because you're trying to contain the whole life process in your logical intelligence. One needs to understand our logic fits into life, but life will never fit into our logic. The more logical, moments of extreme logic are moments of suicide.
This is going to be interesting today. Dr. Reese?
I think that is so marvelous to contemplate. I have to thank you. And by the way, I'm not sure how I should properly address you.
He only has one name. It's just Sadhguru. There's no first. There's no middle.
Sadhguru. Although I know what your real name is.
Sadhguru. Sadhguru.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Sadhguru is good enough.
His name is Sadhguru.
Okay, because I have been reading about you. I do know something about you, and I want to tell you that I'm trying to do some of the things that you've written about, and I think about you when I water the pansies in my flower boxes in front of my house. And when somebody walks by and thanks me for having put the pansies there, I think I'm glimpsing what you're talking about, which is that participating in life, accepting that I'm here and I have to do everything I can and be as happy as I can is healthier, better, certainly better for me and the world around me and the people around me than searching for some kind of meaning that I can never possibly understand.
But I find that maybe how can I prevent myself from seeking meaning? I seek meaning the way plants seek the sun. I can't picture a life for myself, ideating things unless I can. I'm looking for meaning.
It is not about ideating. It is not about ideating. It's about life is here to be experienced, not to conceptualize it. When you conceptualize life, somewhere you are thinking you're bigger than creation. You cannot find a meaning to it. We are just a small part of this creation, and we as a generation of people are like relay runners. We didn't start it, we are not going to end it. It's just a short span of time that we have to run it.
Yeah. And the way you said it about logic, would you say that again about how our logic cannot contain the world, cannot contain all of life?
Right now, see, our logical dimension of our mind is only to understand the physicalities of life. Only for survival process it's useful. You are trying to drive your car to the moon. It's not going to work. If you want to go to the moon, you need a different kind of vehicle. Logical mind, which is fed by your sense perception, is only good enough for survival. If you use it well, you can survive well. But once you have come as a human being, survival is not the whole thing. Survival is a big thing when it's in question. Once it's taken care of, it doesn't mean so much. Always a human being is longing to be something more than who he is right now. If that something more happens, he longs for something more. If you look at this, every human being unconsciously is trying to expand in an infinite way. That's his longing. The longing is not for meaning. Those who become lazy in the process, or those who become hopeless, because it does not matter how many installments you try to get to the infinite. It is a hopeless state. You're not going to get there. So logic is useful only to handle the physical and the material aspects of life. If you wake up in the morning and do not consider any aspect of your life's experience, do not think about the pansies in your garden, do not think about your child's face, do not think about the birds in the sky, do not think of any experience. Just look at it logically. Every day you have to wake up, every day you have to go to toilet, every day you have to brush your teeth, every day you have to work, and the same thing for the next 50 years. Logically, is it worthwhile? So that's why I said, if you bring yourself to extreme logic, you will see naturally it is a suicide. Not everybody commits suicide once for all. They commit suicide also in installments. You will see how alive a person is when he is 5 years of age. By the time he is 30, that aliveness is missing simply because he has committed suicide in installments.
Oh, this is wonderful to think about, because we've been talking with Armstrong every week, and we've been writing about how one keeps sort of reinventing oneself as we get older and older, because Dr. Fleischer and I are. We are getting older.
Old or reinventing ourselves.
We're both.
Both, yes, of course, both.
So I think this is an important message for the aging population that we've been addressing.
See, with age, our physical agility can come down. But if our aliveness is coming down, obviously it means we are committing suicide in installments. Committing suicide in installments is very
I'd like
painful
you to explain that to me.
We're going to take a break. We're going to take a break and come back. I'm going to listen before I challenge this. I'm going to listen to Sadhguru, Dr. Fleischer, Dr. Reese. This is a very fascinating discussion. I'm Armstrong Williams. We'll be back.
Armstrong Williams returns in a moment.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Life is full of unexpected changes. Everyone has potential to do wrong. And when they choose to do it, contact the Bucksell Group for your private investigation needs. TheBucksellGroup.com or by phone at 202-243-9746. Whether there's an instance of a cheating spouse, child custody, process service, or security, don't continue suspecting. Get closure so that you can move on with your life. Visit TheBucksellGroup.com now or call 202-243-9746. If you think it's happening, it probably is.
To travelers along the road of life who have fallen asleep at the wheel, to the many who woke up in time to avert disaster and get back on the righteous path. For the ones who crashed and survived and now adhere vigilantly to a virtuous and righteous path. Finally, Armstrong Williams' much-anticipated new book, Reawakening Virtues, gives his insights into these daily challenges and much more. Reawakening Virtues is available in bookstores and at Amazon.com.
Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sport shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
Most Americans simply have never been taught the basics of money management, let alone how to secure their financial future. But there is hope. Financial Education and Literacy Advisors, also known as FELA, does what others don't. FELA teaches financial education. If you'd like more information about providing a financial wellness program for your employees, or a credit-bearing college course in personal finance, or other valuable programs, please visit myfela.com. That's myfela.com, or send an email to info@myfela.com.
Elder Chicks is an exciting part of the fastest growing segment of the population. Women in their 70s, 80s, and older who are mastering the art of a senior life. We're no longer unseen and unheard. We're providing role models for each other and the baby boomers who are fast approaching retirement. Join our virtual community. Hit www.elderchicks.com on your computer keyboard.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
You know, the question that I want to raise before we continue the conversation is when you talk about this almost perfect peace that people can reach and people have not found the higher place in their lives because they have not shedded whatever is necessary for them to feel this, what some would call the light. Does it mean sometimes that they need to abandon these things that people say we need a college education, or we need school, or we need families, or we need real estate, we need homes to live into, we need to abandon our careers and our freedom and give up our wealth? What is it in terms of this so-called enlightenment? Because it is enlightenment that you speak of that a person has to do to understand this almost perfection, whether it's in death or whatever, for people to start walking in that path. What is it that holds us back? Is it these things that we crave that we call materialism? Just tell us what that is.
Now, right now, all the things that you said, education, wealth, jobs, family, these are all arrangements that we make around ourselves. This is the ambience of our life. What kind of ambience you want? It's your personal choice. Somebody may want to live in a palace, but somebody may want to live in a tent on top of a mountain. That's their choice. The ambience of life that you want to choose, each individual has to choose for himself. But if I ask you, how do you want to be within yourself, blissful or miserable? What is your choice, Armstrong?
I like the life I have now. Continue.
No. Within yourself, if there is a choice between being blissful and miserable, what is the choice?
You know, my life works for me now, so obviously I'm at perfect peace with the life that I have.
I'm not asking whether your life works or not. I'm just asking whether you or any human being. I'm
not interested in being blissful or miserable. I'm not even interested in either.
Just now we were talking about a person who went through certain pain and had to end his life.
But that's not my story.
Why are we not?
But you're talking about somebody else. But that's not my story.
No, no, no. I'm not talking about you as a person.
But you asked me the question. You asked me the question, and I answered it.
No, no, no. I am asking you as a human being, not as a person. For any human being. Okay, let's not take you as an example.
Okay, let's ask Dr. Fleischer. Ask Dr. Fleischer and Dr. Reese. Dr. Fleischer, Dr. Reese, you can answer this question.
I choose bliss over misery.
That is a natural choice. It is. I don't see why anybody should be offended by that.
I'm not offended.
It is a natural choice.
You're not hearing me. I said I would choose neither.
Right.
That's what I said.
Okay.
You said you would choose your life as it is.
That's exactly right, which works.
If a human being, any human being, has a choice between pleasantness and unpleasantness within himself, his natural choice is pleasantness. But this is not happening to a lot of people.
Not necessarily. Go ahead, Dr. Fleischer. Go ahead, Dr. Fleischer.
Okay. Would somebody choose unpleasantness within himself?
Let Dr. Fleischer finish. Dr. Fleischer, go ahead.
I might have I might see a choice of an action that I must take. And I might
No,
find
I'm not
that
talking about life's. See, I'm not talking about life's choices. I'm talking about experiential choices within you. I already said this. When materially it comes to you, each individual chooses his own thing. Somebody may choose to live in a palace, but somebody may like to live in a jungle. That's his choice. I'm not questioning that at all. That is what one is referring to as his own life. What you do with your life is up to you. But
well, as I hear,
Suppose I'm being confronted with a situation where I must make a choice. I'm not talking about a choice to live in a palace or to live in a cabin. Not that kind of a choice. An action that I must take.
No, when it comes to actions, you will choose whatever you think is the right thing to do, all right? I'm not talking about actions and situations. I'm talking about an inner experience. If right now, if we sit here, for any human being, the choice between pleasantness and unpleasantness, if it is there for himself, it is definitely pleasantness. You can call this pleasantness as happiness, joy, blissfulness, whatever. But essentially, every human being is longing for this pleasantness within himself. And all the other arrangements he makes around himself is in a certain way to enhance this process also. So if this is the choice, then logically, if you look at life, logic is like a scalpel. The nature of intellect, human intellect, is it will slice open everything and look at it.
If I were to, if I'm to follow your,
can I just finish this?
No, I want to interject. If I were to follow your logic and tell me if I'm wrong, then what I should do, any of us should do, is burn the Bible, burn the Torah, and burn the Quran.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
Oh no, I'm asking him. Then what should we do?
No, I did not say anything like
that. No, that's
that.
what I said. I'm saying, is that what we should do?
No, not necessarily at all. It's
not necessarily. To what extent, though?
No, the thing is, you said the way I follow you, because I have not even completed. Let me complete what I want to say. See, the nature of human intellect is such, it can know things only by slicing open things, dissecting things. This is very useful to know the physical nature of life. Now, I want to know my child well, I want to know my mother well. It's not by dissection I will know this. I'll know this only by embrace. So life can be known only by embracing it in a certain way, not by slicing it open. So logic can only do this. The nature of intellect is just that if a scientist wants to know a flower, he will dissect it. But he will know all the parts of the flower, but he will not know the nature of its creation. So what I'm saying is logic is a limited process which is useful for arranging our material arrangements in life, that everybody can use according to their choice. But if one wants to know something more about life, he needs to embrace the larger creation, for which there is a process, there is a scientific process. There are teachings and philosophies too, but there are scientific processes to do this.
But you're also then, if based on what you just said, then the creation that we speak of could only come from void, nothingness, or darkness.
I'm sorry?
I'm saying to you that all these things that we talk about in terms of creation in the Bible, to you they would just be mere addresses that keep us away from our true power, and they enslave us and keep us in bondage. This thing we call religion.
No, I'm not either endorsing or negating any religion. All I'm saying is The nature of creation is so phenomenal and vast that it is not something that you can dissect and know. It is something that you have to include and embrace.
Dr. Fleischer, you wanted to raise something. Go ahead.
Well, there were a couple of things. First of all, I had a question way back when you said that we commit suicide by installments. Everyone commits suicide in installments.
I didn't say everyone. A lot of people are.
Oh, a lot. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant that. I mean, I know that every day you are closer to death from the time you're born. I realize that, but I wondered why you said suicide, as though one wished it.
See, if you look at a 5-year-old child, how alive he is. Why is that same aliveness missing in somebody else, a so-called grown-up? He has reduced his aliveness for a variety of reasons, because of the fear of pain, because of fear of suffering, and all the other things that he has experienced. He has curtailed the process of life. Curtailing the process of life is a kind of a suicide in installments.
Did you say defeating the process of life?
No, it is just that the fear of suffering.
I didn't hear the word you said. What is this 5-year-old child doing?
See, how alive a 5-year-old child is.
Yes.
When he's 30, most of them, not all of them, a lot of them will become much less alive than what they were in their childhood.
Much less
Aliveness
alive.
does not come down with age.
Yes. This is. Am I in the minority that this is making so much sense to me? Because the idea that if we look at children, little children who are open to the world and learning,
bursting with life,
right? Bursting with life because they are hungry for what they're learning. It's wonderful. It's inspiring to us to see children like that. And don't we often see, more often than not, I'm afraid, many people, as they get older, lose that sense of excitement about life, of joy in being alive, of being able to continue to learn in a way that is satisfying and enthusiastic. I think that is kind of self-evident. And the idea that of using the term suicide, well, we were talking about a suicide, and that's why I think that term is being used. We're looking at some people who seem deliberately to not continue to embrace life.
I think that wasn't the message that I was getting. The message I was getting from
it is that I
Sadhguru.
am. Yeah.
Okay, but I'd like to be helped to understand this.
Why don't you state the message? Please state. It's okay to challenge him. Please state the message you thought you were getting.
The message I thought I was getting was: don't question, don't seek meaning, don't try to be logical or rational about what it is that you understand about life. That's what I was understanding, and I think that
this is so exciting, isn't it? What a change for us. We'll be back. I told you it would be.
Say bye-bye burgers, pass on the pizza, forget the francs. Anytime is party time. Discover Golden Cross's authentic Jamaican-style patties. Beef, chicken, vegetables, soya, spinach, and shrimp. Feast on our great tasty sensations. Jerk chicken, oxtail, sliced fish, and much more. Savor the taste of the Caribbean. Only at a Golden Cross near you. A family tradition since 1949. GoldenCrossBakery.com.
For more information on The Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Does your school, team, church, or charity need a new fundraiser? Do you need to work out of your home or part-time? Are you a small business that can use an additional revenue stream? Then you need Yellow Llama. Do you need affordable web services or tools to enhance your existing business? Are you a graphic artist who wants to create a revenue stream with your art but not get ripped off? Then go to www.yellowllama.com.
Anderson Brothers Bank, a family-owned and operated establishment that blends traditional personal service, local market awareness, and advanced technology to meet the financial needs of its customers. Visit abbank.com or call 843-464-6271 to see how they can assist you with your banking needs. Anderson Brothers Bank, celebrating 75 years of community banking, the way it should be. Stability right in your backyard since 1933.
America must change course if we hope to survive and save the American dream for our children and grandchildren. How do we fix Social Security and Medicare? How do we cut government spending? How do we reform health care? How do we simplify the tax code? The Heritage Foundation has a bold plan that tackles these tough problems using common sense solutions that leave partisan politics on the sidelines. Find out how we can save the American dream at savingthedream.org, paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sport shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
And welcome back to the Armstrong Williams Show. Thank you so much for joining us. Dr. Fleischer, please continue.
What I was saying was that I feel that asking questions and trying to understand, trying to find meaning, trying to evaluate my stands on issues, how things I believe, is an ongoing process, and I see that within the framework of logic and rationality. That doesn't mean that I completely that there's no other aspect to my response to the world, but it is a very major one. And the message I'm getting from Sadhguru, which may be the wrong message, maybe I'm wrong about this, is that this is not a worthy or even there's no point. What he's saying is there's no point in pursuing life in this way. And that would put me in a great big funk. I just wouldn't know how to deal with the world if I weren't trying to make sense of it.
Sadhguru? Sadhguru, are you still there? Dr. Reeves?
I'm still here.
Uh-oh.
Did we lose him? Did Dr. Fleischer challenge him in a way that...
No, I didn't mean to do that.
Why? You don't have to apologize for challenging people. That's what it's about. People should be challenged, so to make sure that their ideas and what they're advocating can stand the test of criticism.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I really wanted to understand.
Yeah.
What it was.
Well, do we think we no longer have him, Armstrong?
You're a very excuse me? You are a very intelligent woman. You do the calculation. Keep asking for him and see what happens.
Oh, what an Armstrong Williams observation.
But I will tell you, listen, it's fascinating what people believe, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, on the one hand, I think he's talking about an attitude toward the world. Not a system of belief so much as how we approach things. When we're challenged in some way in our lives, as we all are, and when we meet with things that might cause despair, I think he's not saying that everybody is going to attain bliss easily or ever.
No, of course, he didn't say that.
Right.
Well, in fairness to him, Nancy just texted me to tell us he only had 30 minutes and he really stretched us for us, so we thank him.
Oh, I see. And we took a lot of his time probably at the beginning. Well, he's an interesting man to read about. I will say that because
interpret for us, Dr. Reese.
Told me who was going to be on. I did look him up on the computer, and I read a lot of his sayings, which I found not only inoffensive, but some of which I found really interesting to contemplate. And so I'm always happy when somebody gives me something to think about. Other than you, Armstrong, and you always give me something to think about.
It's certainly inoffensive. There was nothing offensive about anything that he said.
No.
I didn't. I don't think that. I
don't think he's advocating giving up on religions at all from everything that I've read about him. In fact, he honors them all.
So what did you take from his position on suicide?
Well,
Armstrong, I could not hear I felt very bad about that. The entire first part of his talking, he spoke so softly, at least I could not hear what he said. Obviously, I didn't understand what he said because I couldn't hear him.
Well,
you tell me, what did he say? What was his
what I thought he said about suicide was that when people are only staring into a void and not seeing that it makes any sense, this is what brings them to that kind of despair that leads to suicide. And that if we try to make too much logical sense of everything in our lives, we're probably missing out on the things that would keep us going because we're not really just allowing ourselves to get through experiences in a way that can bring us to a healthier point of view, happier point of view.
What I thought he also said, and I concur with what you just said, is that all of this talk about heaven and afterlife and meaning of life is that people really don't know what that means and don't really understand it. And there's such a greater purpose that sometimes when people get into this dark spot, it's not that they're committing suicide out of anger and darkness and confusion. They're actually doing it to find a better light.
Exactly. That's what I felt he was saying too. And they are mistaken about it.
Which kind of I had to step back because I had never heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he was saying.
I
didn't hear enough.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
In other words, they're trying to find the light. They're not running. It's not darkness that's consuming them. It's the light.
It's that they think that they can think their way out of these things.
That's right.
And you can't.
They think that they can
think their way. Logic. Use their logic to get out of such a situation, and that's not the way to do it. Logic doesn't apply when you are feeling like that.
And that's what's
his
point.
You can't think your way out of suicide. You have to allow yourself to get through an experience, and people do come out the other side. I always remember the life of the great pianist Rubinstein, the great conductor. who when he was 23 started to commit suicide, and something he felt stopped him. And he never tried again in his whole life. He always remembered the experience, was thankful to God that he didn't do it, and was all right after that because he got past that moment. But your friend's wife has reported that he tried several times.
And are there not people who are seriously considering suicide, and when spoken to and dealt with, and especially young, very young people, when it's pointed out to them, you know, that old saying, it's a short solution to, it's a long solution
Right.
to a short problem.
Right.
That one can be logically brought out of that.
If they can accept that at that moment.
I don't think that there's one answer, because there's not one reason.
Right.
There are many, many reasons why people either fall into depression, so depressed that they don't want to live anymore. They're the ones who think they're going on to a better life. They're ones who want to end it because they think there's no further life. There are just many reasons, and I don't think you can say that there's one logical or illogical or spiritual or mystical or any other way to approach this. Each situation has its own parameters.
Unfortunately, what people in that situation cannot, I think, are simply unable to deal with or realize is the impact that it has forever on the people who love them.
I just
Unless
think
they're very angry at them and want to do something to deliberately hurt them.
I just think it's so refreshing to have two people who have lived and experienced and gained wisdom and knowledge and insights. When we have these thoughtful and topics that people have not really focused enough on, that you can draw upon that body of work of yours and just respond to it in so many ways. And that's why it's such a blessing having you on with us on this broadcast, because what you bring, I mean, you cannot, that would be hard to find. So I thank you.
But Armstrong, you bring this to us. I mean, you're the one who poses such.
You're the one who asks.
You pose such provocative questions that I always, when 5 o'clock comes, I just am always so stimulated by this.
Yes, so
then she has to go out, Armstrong. You're changing her life.
You know, this dialogue, and we get the feedback. It's such a blessing. I look so much to it when you are on, and it's so good that we do it live, because there's something about when you know you're live and everybody's listening.
Right. True. Yes.
You bring your best behavior, your best game.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, you know, so you're the one. You and your wonderful producer are the ones who make those choices.
She was so emotional about this show today. She was so emotional about this show today because Dr. Sadhguru speaks to her. Listen, Dr. Fleischer, Dr. Reese, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you very
You're welcome.
much.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. This is Armstrong.